Hello everyone, it's Carrie, and in today's video I'll be working on a Lagoona from Monster High. This is part one of a two-part series where I'll be customizing a Sally doll from Nightmare Before Christmas. I came up with this idea as I was making my Tattered fairy line. I noticed I had some of the fabric left over from when I previously made a Sally doll, and that just gave me the idea to make one of my Tattered fairies into a Sally inspired doll. So she's got some of the characteristics of my Sally, but she's done in my style. You'll notice later that I decided to do the eyes a little bit differently, but still keep the scars on the face. And then in the next video, you'll see the costume and the hairstyle and how I did that a little differently. So once I put the hair up in a beanie, I started out with my 3 coats of Mr. Super Clear, and always start with the eyes usually. And I went in with the white to get the shape I wanted, and then I started with the upper lash line and the waterline. So I knew that I wanted her to have big round eyes like Sally does, but I knew that I wanted to do them a little bit more in my style. So I really didn't have a plan here, I just kind of winged it as I was going. So I just decided, just draw the eyes similar to how I usually do, make sure that they're as round as I can get them, and then I just started to make it up from there. Yeah, Sally has a blue skin tone, so that works well with the Lagoona's skin tone, which is kind of like a gray or light blue or very, very light blue. It's almost white. So I just did the contouring and shading with a light blue and sometimes added white to it, and you can see me kind of mixing it on that paper towel. And that helps me not be the color be so harsh. I mix it with a little white to tone it down a bit. And then I layer up the colors after giving it a couple coats of Mr. Super Clear in between, and just keep layering. I'm adding a little blush here with a little eyeshadow brush actually that I use, and blending it out with the colorless blender by Pastels. And then starting in on the lips, I'm using a paintbrush that I cut down. It's a tiny little round brush that once it got a little older and tattered, I decided to cut it down really short, and it makes it into like a stencil brush, and it really helps me with the shading part, tiny little parts of shading and lips. So I'm leaving a bit of a highlight on the bottom lip, blending that out with some white Pastel and some colorless blender. And then I'm adding some black to the corners of the mouth. I'm using some little micro brushes to blend it out a little bit, blend out that lipstick and the shading that I did at the corner of the mouth. And then I define that color a little bit on her lips with a watercolor pencil. I believe I'm using a Faber Castell here. Now I don't always draw the line on the mouth all the way across. Sometimes I just let the mold do it itself, and sometimes I just let the shading separate the mouth upper lip from the bottom lip. So for example, in this one, I don't believe that I drew all the way across the lip. I think what I did is I colored the top lip darker than the bottom, and that made pretty much a line for me. And then sometimes I'll go in with a little bit of like a chocolate brown and do a very light line across the center of the mouth. I don't like to have a harsh line straight across, because it doesn't look natural. So going into the eyes, I decided to just kind of play around here. I wanted to pull the colors of the dress into the eyes. So ultimately I decided on a pink pupil and a sort of a rainbow effect on the eyes with yellow and turquoise blue, or turquoise green, I guess. So I like to blend out the bottom of the iris with a little bit of white. And I'm going in the upper part of the iris with a darker blue. I did the eyebrows pretty much similar to Sally's eyebrows, and then just added some blush to the inner eyebrow. Adding some more blushing to the cheeks and Colorless Blender to blend it out. At this point, I've probably gone in and given it a couple of coats of Mr. Super Clear so I can build up my color. And I'm going back with that turquoise green and a couple of different shades of blue and a little bit of yellow. This part takes some time just to blend, a lot of blending, a lot of patience, and a lot of layers. I define it a little bit with some black around the sides of the iris. Now I'm going back in and doing some more shading to build up that color. Sally is blue skinned, so I wanted to add some more layers to make sure that the skin was a good blue color. And doing it in layers like that, starting out very light and then going in with, then sealing it and then going back with another layer, gives it more of an airbrushed look, like a natural blend. Adding some more detail to the eyes here. And without doing all the blending and the patience it takes to get to all the detail, it starts to look kind of cartoony. So I like to push it a little bit further and with as much detail as I can, and that will give it a more natural look. Well, not very natural, but surreal and more detailed. And I'm adding highlights with a white white Derwent watercolor pencil. And then I almost forgot to draw the eyelids on there. So just a little line above the eye just helps it look like a better lid, or define the lid. So then I still have some more detail to do here with the eyelashes and some highlights, but I hope you enjoyed this video. The second part of this series will be available soon with the hairstyling and costume details, so click the subscribe button if you haven't already so you don't miss out on that in future videos. If you're a supporter over on Patreon, the full-length version of this video is available for you now. And at the time of making this video, unfortunately this doll has already sold, but I have added a couple of fairies to the shop, so check out the link to my Etsy shop in the description box below if you're interested. I'd love it if you gave it a thumbs up if you like this video, and thank you so much for watching. Have a great day. Bye!